Blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Let me share with you the word for today, the text for today. The Old Testament text comes to us from Psalm 115, reading portions of verse 2 and verse 3. Why should the nations say, where is their God? Our God is in the heavens. He does whatever he pleases. And the verse 10, praise to the Father for his loving kindness, tenderly caring for his erring children. The doctrinal text is from St. John 14, verse 9. Jesus said to him, whoever has seen me has seen the Father. And the verse hymn, come, O Father, saving Son, who o'er sin the victory won. Boundless shall your kingdom be, grant that we its glory see. As we glance on these texts, my dear brethren, the psalmist is saying, what reason do we have to ask, where is our God? Because our God is certainly present in our midst. It's present because of what he has created, and his creation is all around us. So some may question and argue that there is no God. We came by various means and we find ourselves here and we pat ourselves on the shoulder and we say we are who we are because of who we are. And as the psalmist puts it issue to us, he let us understand that this God, this awesome God, as we say, he is good all the time, and all the time he is good. He does whatever he pleases. And to those that love him, all things work together for good. So should we question where God is in our lives? Should we question where God is in our lives? Sadnesses and the ill wills that we hear of in many corners. We must major in the things that are mine. Because with all that is happening around us, oh, there is so much more magnificent evidence which overrides the ills which are derived from the adversary and the spirit of the evil that is around us. And it is the goodness in God and the greater news that we need to emphasize. That despite what is happening around the world, there is a great, big, wonderful God with marvelous things. You don't see it? Then when you woke this morning, who was it that woke you from your slumber? Who was it that gave you the energies to rise from your bed and to undertake your duties and to keep you safe as you travel the miles to be with us? Who is it that has placed you, even if it's not the most comfortable situation, but even after the great big winds of Melissa, that has kept you through it and brought you down to this time of year? So there's a great, big, wonderful God. And Jesus said in the New Testament to his companions and those around him, now listen, you want to identify the presence of God, you want to identify who this God is, really is, then if you know me, then you will know the Father. If you have seen me, then you have seen the Father. And Christ is the image of God himself. In his love, in his compassion, in his goodness, in his caring. And the greater sign of the presence of God is the fact that he has given us the opportunity to submit our sinful lives to him, to be transformed and to be renewed day in, day out. You can't see him physically, but you can feel him. You can see him in the provisions that he has provided for you. His sacrificial son that came. And once you are conscious of this God, then you know how far you are from righteousness and goodness and all that is identifiable through the hands of God, through Jesus Christ. So I pray, my dear friends, that you don't need to look far, because he's here with us, whispering a voice even to your hearts now, calling you and nudging you to say, hey, that sin in your life, that unworthiness, that which you did not do that you should have done, and that which you do which you should not have done, present it to him for his cleansing and your renewal. So I read for you this supporting prayer as I ask you to bow your heads now as we present ourselves to our Almighty God. God, we see you in the faces of all we encounter in your beloved creation. We see you in joy and in sorrow, in the persecuted and in the free. We see you walking amongst us, working alongside us, struggling and rejoicing with us. We see you, God. We thank you, Lord, for the revelation of your presence in our lives. You are there in the good times and through the challenges we face each day. Give us the faith to trust in your protective presence. Help us to understand that when we see one set of footprints in the sand, those are the times you are carrying us. And so, God, as we assemble now in this fashion, continue to reveal yourself to us as you direct our thoughts and as you enable us to have a productive day in our discussion and in our camaraderie. We pray, Lord, that as we are about to proceed in this session, that God, you and you alone will be the focus. That God, you will separate us from the different anxieties and issues that may come to distract us. And enable us, Lord, to receive from you what is good and righteous, and enabling us, O God, to be better men and servants for your church. We thank you for the presence of our dear guest speaker within our midst. And even through her presentation, God, we know that there is good to be heard. And so we present her in your hand as well. And we pray, God, that when we leave this place, we will say, yes, it was good to be here. So now take full control as we seek to give you our undivided attention and speak once again through us, Lord. And do what only you can do. Transform our lives, transform our minds as we open up ourselves now once again to be led. Glory to your holy name we pray, and we say, Amen. Amen. I hand over to our president again, Brother Bulgin, as he will undertake the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Tomlinson, for doing devotion for us. Good morning once again, brothers. Yes. Once again, we are here for another annual general meeting. All the programs, every things that we are using today. All right, brother Jacobs is distributing. So could you go ahead and distribute? All right. So, brothers, we are now going to move for the adoption of the agenda. The agenda is in the executive group, as well as copies of the agenda is being distributed at the moment. So I'm going to ask that you look closely at the agenda, and if there are any amendments or correction to the agenda, we will take that now, and then we'll ask for someone to move for the adoption of the agenda. Yes, Brother Clyde. Once you have the program, the agenda is on the program. Yes, Brother Clyde. Yes. Yes, sir. I'm certain we are not detaining her. She's here voluntarily and she's smiling away. And I'm sure that Mrs. Hastings will wait on us patiently. Is that so, Mrs. Hastings? You will try. Thank you very much. Brother Clive, we want to do the adoption of the agenda. So when we come back, we don't have to. We'll let it go shortly, Mrs. Hastings. And I've brought some lovely goodies for you. I'm sure you'll enjoy those. And that will make up for the late stay. All right? Yes. Yes. Okay. You so move that the agenda. So there are no additions to the agenda? Except we'll work on that one feverishly and see if we can get that one out of the way so we're in line, right? And we have someone second the. Thank you very much. Again, we want to welcome our brothers to this our annual general meeting. And Mrs. Hastings, we want to welcome you our annual general meeting, and thank you for taking the time out to and to come and address us as well. Any apologies? Yes, yes, sir. Yes. Is it Dr. Hastings? Not yet. All right. Okay. Yes. Any other apologies, brothers? Brother Mark, if you could take off that echo. Grateful. Yes. Okay. Brother, and brother. Javon. On. Okay. Is it spelling? You want to get the spelling? No, Brother Gerard is taking it. Rodney. Rodney's the last name. Yes. All right. Any other apologies, brothers? All right. We want to do a 9.58 here. Any other apologies? Brother Gordon from Holy Cross. Valda. VALDA. Vada. VADA. All right. Sympathies. Any sympathies? Speak now and forever, hold your peace. Condolences. Condolences. There are quite a few. Let's take them quickly. Yes. Wow. We are taking the names. Please give them to us because we are going to send you your card of condolence. What's the name of the brother from Earl Walker from Beersheba? Okay. From Beersheba, Brother Earl Walker. Yes. Yes. Okay. Robert Nicholas lost his mother. Yes. Brother Gerard, you're up to date with the names? Right. Any other? Brother Harris, he lost his brother. Yes. Okay. Ralfred Brown from. Okay. Any other? So condolence to Brother Price was lost a number of relatives, including his wife. We sent you a card already, right? Okay. We don't want to do it twice. All right. Anybody else? All right. We move on to congratulations. If there are no congratulations, we are going to skip past the break. Most persons will already have their break. So Brother Clive is here back on track now. Right. So we ask Brother Lewis to come and do the introduction of the guest speaker.
Good morning, brothers, and my dear sister who is with us. Mine is an extreme pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker for the morning. She has been a healthcare professional for many years. Our esteemed guest speaker received her professional training at UWI, University of the West Indies. She is a clinical psychologist. She provides assessment and diagnosis and treatment of people living with mental illness. Our guest speaker provides in-house care that is in the hospital or through our outpatient clinics within the Western region, both children and adults. Our guest speaker shares a great passion for helping others, especially children who are in need. brothers, our guest speaker is Miss Jodi-Marie Hastings, who is a clinical psychologist with the Western Region Health Authority, which falls under the Ministry of Health and Wellness. Could you put your hand together as we welcome Miss?
Good morning again, everyone. Thank you for that welcome and that introduction. Thank you much. I have engaged in different types of churches, different types of denominations, but I'll say that this is my first experience at a Moravian church, and so far it has been a very pleasant experience. Okay, I would hope so. But it has been a very pleasant experience thus far. I have been greeted with much friendliness, much openness, and I must say it is a pleasure, and thank you so much for inviting me. Well, I'm going to say inviting us. I'm walking in. We actually have another member of the team, Miss Irwin Morris. She's a psychiatric nursing aide with the Western Regional Health Authority. She had a bit of delay this morning, but she was determined to make it with us. And she'll be here to provide some additional support for today's session, Ms. Morris. All right. Now, I won't take too much of your time today. I'm just going to be speaking very briefly, but very thoroughly on how we can take care of ourselves as well as take care of those around us. Because I think we can all agree that universally, we just experienced something that none of us have ever experienced, correct? Such a new experience. Many of us would have prepared, not prepared, but I don't believe that most of us had an idea that this would have been the outcome, correct? All right. Thank you very much. Now, what we're going to be speaking about today, again, is taking care of ourselves and how we can take care of other people. And when I'm going to ask, when we think about the hurricane, in terms of how you felt immediately after, during the hurricane, and even to this point, what are some of the feelings that come to mind? And I'm going to start, and we can use the same feelings. But for me, I felt a lot of confusion. Like, what is going to happen? It felt like everything was at a standstill. You don't know what to do. Can anybody else tell me what we might have thought about or felt? Fear. Okay, can I ask you to tell me about that for a minute?
Afraid of the unknown, afraid of the likely things to happen. And the nearer it came to the actual onset, was in more heightened fear. Fear came also during the passage of the hurricane. Fear for your own self, fear for your family, fear for your relatives, and fear for your property. A lot of fear. In many cases, the fear was actually realized, not too much dismay. But one of the things that kept a number of us through the whole thing is the support system. Support system, family, relatives, and friends. In many cases, phones were down, so communication was unknown. So you wondered what happened to your close relative or your close friend as well. Efforts to contact them were in vain in many cases. So the fear is heightened. And when our support system is beginning to be even stronger when there is physical presence
or there is ability to make contact. In many cases, those who were not able to be present, it made it very more so. But a lot of fear was eased when they were able to actually make contact with relatives and to realize that they were okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. And I'm sure that there are so many people, not just in this room, but elsewhere, who had similar feelings. And he touched on something so very important. He said that there was fear when we heard all the talks about the first
coming. But do we know that not everybody felt that? Is there anybody in here who may have thought that, well, it's not that serious? Maybe just a little heavy breeze. Did anybody think that it wouldn't have been as significant as it was? Okay, I see a hand. Thank you. Those are some very good, very powerful responses. Okay. Right. That's so very right. That's so very true. That's so very true. I mean, I'm still a pretty young person, as you can see. I wasn't around for, let's say, Gilbert, for example. And I know many persons would have compared Melissa to Gilbert in a sense, but I think we can say that Melissa never hold no candle to Gilbert. Melissa was just a completely different beast. I remember stories that my family members would have told me that they were at the river the day when they heard that Gilbert was coming. And they just drove home and they just did their business. But Melissa was just a completely different beast, right? And it's so important for us to recognize that even though we are several months past the hurricane, there is no feeling, there is no emotion that is largely unacceptable. I know that for myself, I felt that there were two Jamaicas. There was Jamaica that experienced a hurricane, and there was Jamaica that did not experience a hurricane. And we in the Western region I felt that we sort of were frozen in time. That the rest of the world, the rest of the country had started to move on, but we were just frozen in time at this point. And there's so many persons who might say, the hurricane was so many months ago and you're still feeling distressed, you still feel upset, you still have all these feelings. But let me say this, that there is no inappropriate way to feel. Recognize that what we went through was a very abnormal experience. Going through a hurricane, and we have spoken about it in lay terms that it would have technically been like a 6 or a 7 if the scale had gone to that place, if the scale had gone to that level. But there is no correct way that we must feel in response to an abnormal situation. So I would like us to just keep that in mind. And there's so many, we touched on some very important emotional experiences, but I'd like to highlight a few more. There's a lot of anxiety for the persons who may have experienced significant loss during and after the hurricane, not knowing where the next dollar is going to come from. Loss comes in so many different ways. It could mean your loss of income. It could mean your loss of safety, of security. One of the things that I say all the time when I do these presentations is that your house is so much more than four walls and a roof. Can we agree? Your house, it is the culmination of all your years of hard work. You ever really want something, you're saving to buy a car or a house or something, and you say, no, I'm not going to buy the KFC, I'm going to buy this brand instead of this one because it's cheaper, I'm not going to go to that activity, I'm not going to contribute towards this because I want to put my money towards this thing that I'm saving for. And Melissa just came and said, right? It is the culmination of all your years of hard work. It is your sense of safety. It is knowing that when it rains, you're not going to get wet. It is knowing that if somebody unkind comes through your yard, you are safe and you are protected. It's knowing that no one can get to you so easily. So a house is so much more than four walls and a roof. So there are different types of loss. There are loss of lives. As I said, loss of jobs, loss of sense of normalcy, and these things are so very important. Let me ask you, have you ever had a difficult situation or you have a big decision and your brain just sort of feels like a blender? You don't know which way is up, which way is down. You don't know what the first thing is to do. You don't know if you should call NHT first, if you should call Ministry of Labor first. You don't know if you must start by pushing out the muddy things out of the house. You just don't know where to start. You feel so confused. Anybody ever feel like that? Yes? Right. And that is also a very normal response. And that is why it is so important that we remember that we must maintain the community that we have around us. Without jumping too far ahead, I'm going to say that our social support, when you present to the hospital with any medical issue, one of the things that your provider will look at to determine what is this person's prognosis? Are they likely to have a good outcome? It is your social support. And it can mean somebody saying, how are you doing today? How can I help you? Did anybody receive any sort of aid during or after the hurricane? Let's say someone came and helped you to tack on the roof, or somebody got 2 bottles of water and they gave you 1, or they gave you a tin of corned beef or a bag of rice. And I'm sure that if you think about it, those things made the world of difference in that moment. So it is so important that we utilize and we create and we build the community that we have around us. Right. Now, one of the things that you're going to hear me mention moving forward is this pretty little term of psychosocial first aid. Right. And all it essentially means is tapping into, would anybody in here consider themselves to be a caring person? You like to do for others? You like to extend a hand? Yes? Okay. So that is what psychosocial first aid is. All it is tapping into the natural tendencies and natural resources that we have within ourselves to help our fellow man. So it is saying, how are you doing today? If you come to church and you notice that one of your members has been missing for a few weeks, and this person is usually a regular attender, or you come and you see somebody and they just don't look their normal, happy self, they look very down. It is saying, how are you doing today? Is there anything that I can do? Tell me, what are the challenges that you're experiencing? Now, it does not mean that you become a therapist. It doesn't mean that you become a psychiatric nursing aide or a nurse or a doctor. What it means is that you direct people to the resources that are available. Because many of us don't recognize that there are so many things that are out there. We have the Ministry of Labor. We have the NHT, we have NIS, we have PATH, we have Poor Relief. We have all these different support systems that we oftentimes don't utilize. And if I am able to share a little story with you, a perfect example of what it means. A lady, and this was in the early days, fairly early days after the hurricane. A lady, an older lady, presented to the hospital, and she said that I have 4 grandchildren at home. I have nothing to eat. My business has been destroyed, and I'm looking for some food. And we said, Miss, we don't have any food up here. No, we don't keep food up here. She said, Miss, I go down there, so them tell me, so them don't have any. The lady said she go come back, and she don't come back. Me just a beg some food for the children. And I said, okay. Well, the team and I, we said, okay, we don't have any food, but let us see who we can reach out to who might have some food. And that is when we reached out to our social worker who said, you know that there are some tin foods and some bags of rice down by the regional office. Maybe you can take some of them and give it to that lady. And when we gave it to her, she was most happy and most grateful. So no one is expecting us to go into our pockets and to give to anyone, to go into your bank account, into your savings. What it means is saying, you know that I know that Sister Michelle over there so have an extra fridge. Maybe you can ask her if you can borrow it, and you just need it for 2 weeks. Or maybe you go to Brother Thomas over there, so who might be able to give you some information on XYZ. That is what it essentially is. I know for me, immediately after the hurricane, my heart was so moved, and I would like to consider myself to be a strong person. But my heart was so moved by the challenges that people around me were facing that I wanted to go into my cupboard and take out everything. I wanted to take out all of the rice. I said, you know what, I may not be in the best position, but I know I'm in better position than some people. And I know that I will get it back because I have friends who would have given me things because I know that I don't have the time. I have to go to work. I don't have time to join the line at ATM. I don't have time to stand in the 10-person line at supermarket to get in. So I will get it back. And I wanted to take everything out of the cupboard, everything out of the fridge and give it away. So I know that many of us also have those types of tendencies. Is that true? Yeah. Yes. All right. But let me jump on the other side of it. When you're assisting people, we have to remember not to do it to our own detriment. You know, when they say teach a man to fish, right? So what we are doing is giving people the resources to empower them to go out and help themselves. Because let's say you come to church and you speak to a couple of your church members. And before I move any further, I'm gonna say this again, even though we are so many months past the hurricane, there are so many people who are still in the same position that they're still in the same position today that they were in immediately after the hurricane. And many of our fellow brothers and sisters, they suffer in silence. So it is still happening today. These are still relevant conversations. So what we're doing is empowering people to go out and help themselves. Let me give you the information. Let me give you the resources so that you can help themselves. Because when you give to people all the time and you don't allow them an opportunity to figure it out for themselves, we sort of rob them of that confidence and that capacity. And you may come to church and you say, boy, I'm going to bring a bottle of water for you tomorrow. And you bring the bottle of water. And then you come back next week and say, all right, I'm going to give you a bag of rice. And you're able to give their bag of rice. Every week you come to church, you're not always able to give something. And then it becomes like an anchor on you. It becomes like a noose around your neck. Because you also have your needs too. So in the helping of other persons, I'm going to remind us that we must always take care of ourselves as well. Is there anybody in here who thinks that they take great care of themselves? Eyebrows went up, yes? Yes, great care. Tell me how you take great care of yourself.
In terms of my diet, my meals,
Well,
um, rest, in terms of relaxation, entertainment, kind of de-stress
okay,
sometimes,
okay,
so that my mental health is not impacted, because if that is impacted, that is going to affect everything.
okay.
Yes, so I make sure I take care of that. any other needs, medical needs, um, food, clothes, shelter, security, all
Okay.
those stuff. Yes.
Okay, very good, very good. I love it. I heard some other answers. Anybody else thinks that they take great care of themselves? And when you think about it before you answer, I'm going to give you a little definition. So the World Health Organization says that health, good health, is not just when the physical stuff is okay. Good health is a complete state of mental, physical, and emotional wellness, and not just the absence of disease or infirmity. So you could be physically well, you have no problems. Doctors say you're a good man, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're the healthiest person if the other areas are not taken care of. So who thinks that we take care of all the areas of our lives and our health and well-being? Most? Okay, all right. Anybody else? So something slides down. So we forget about something sometimes. Anybody? What's that? Does anybody sometimes feel guilty? Or you feel like you have to help when somebody asks you to help and you know that you're in a position to help? I hear a mix of answers. Somebody who say yes, tell me about it. Okay. 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 All right. Wait, I heard another one. Okay. Okay, very good, very good. But it sounds like everybody here is always very, ready to jump and to help, but a lot of times we just don't want to. That is not a crime.
Seek assistance.
Seek assistance.
You cannot do it, and you have somebody assist you.
Okay, you mean the times when you yourself don't want to do it. Okay, you feel bad when they ask you, and you know you can't do it, but you just don't want to. Sometimes you're tired. Yes, and that's a very important point that I would like to drive home for us. Is that I think that most people, most of us, we're very caring people who want to help, and sometimes it is very hard to say no. So you are asked to do something, and you know that you can do it, but sometimes you just don't want to. That's alone is a valid reason. And it is not selfishness. It doesn't mean that you are unkind. I say to people sometimes, some persons may say to me that, they just don't feel good when they're sitting down and not doing anything. They feel like they're wasting their day. And I'd say that sometimes being unproductive is the most productive that you can be in that moment. You need to take care of yourself. And I have a little post, a little information, so I'm gonna share around that everyone can take a look at, so you can just follow along with me. I only have about 3, so we're gonna have to share a little bit. Either the smarts can just drop, or just place them at different parts and persons all the time. Say that out loud.
I can put the phone here so the camera. We do one. We can pick up right
Okay, thank you for that. All right. So in my hand is just a little check-in, just a little reminder. And for those who are in the room, if you'd like to, you can take photos of it. You can find this information online. So many people, when they hear about psychological support, they believe that it's some sort of magical, some fantastical, some extra special, over the top type of thing, and that's not what it is. When you go, if you have hypertension, and you go to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes antihypertensive medication for you, and you can see on the machine that the pressure is going down, you know that
pill equals no oppression. So the pill works. Mental health support and psychological support does not necessarily work like that. So we recognize that a preventative type of measure is always the best type of support, the best type of approach. And it is not like when you get a cut or a wound and you can see the skin slowly starting to come together and heal. Psychological support is not like that. But what the studies, what the research tells us is that it does in fact work. And it creates a world of difference if done correctly and done consistently. So let's look at our little check-in. The first one says, what am I grateful for? I know that the way that there's so many things in life that can go wrong on any given day. There are so many things that are not ideal that I know we wish were different. But if we think about it and we look hard enough, we can always find at least one thing to be grateful for. And one of the things that I personally like to practice is that I like to wake up with the spirit of gratitude.
Could not have been woken up that morning. We could wake up and instead of 5 things not being great, there are 10 things not being great instead. So we have to go through life with a spirit of gratitude. So is there any brave person who can, or persons who can just very briefly tell me one thing that you're grateful for? Life, very good, very good. Anyone else? Health, very good, excellent. Waking up this morning, very good.
Because I tell my friend that I want to go to school on Saturday. Yeah, because back then you go to and you have to the your time that why is it? They can after school on Saturday, back to the school on Sunday. Right? And they teach you how to value your time. I want to start to do that. Right? One time, never my parents, they were 13 of us. They're from a big family. Brother and sister. And one thing I do, look at my television and so that's what happened. My mom would say, read, bedtime story. Bedtime story. And my father would tell me about the festival in Panama and so forth. But to call it all, I really that's grateful for what we have and where we are. Yes. Right, and go and see like a fish with somebody else. And if you earn in your day, if you earn a pound, I don't know if you know what I'm called. If you earn a pound, it's about right. You should save, make sure you save at least 5 shillings. Right? And as a result of that, I am that I am.
Okay.
Saved.
Very good.
And I take the part and see value in my children and their family.
Very good. I love that. I love that response. Very good. That's an excellent one. Right. Would anyone else like to jump in?
I am grateful for the things of God.
Okay.
That's salvation. Without that, you would not be here this morning.
Excellent. Anyone other person like to share? And you can be grateful for everyday things too. You can be grateful that you had light return to you had water return to you. Grateful for the family, grateful for your children, grateful that you have some financial support. There are so many things that we can be grateful for. We have to recognize how we are feeling. And I know feelings, especially among the male population in Jamaica, are not always discussed, but they're so very important. You ever feel some type of way, but you just can't put a word to it? You just know that you don't feel so great, or you're feeling something, but you just can't tell what exactly the word is. We have to be able to say how we're feeling in order to say what it is that we need. And again, remember that there is no perfect way that we're expected to feel or to respond to an abnormal experience. Down here, we have what is that thing that I can do for myself. And
It is very specific to you. I did one of these presentations a few months ago, and to a group of nurses, and one of the nurses that she likes to dance. She goes to a salsa class every Tuesday night or something like that. And another person said that they enjoyed getting themselves prettied up and to look nice. For men, what are some of the things that you enjoy that you can do for yourself that makes you feel good? Is this one going to trick everybody? What are some of the things that you can, to show that we don't always do things for ourselves? It's very easy for us to get up and do things for other people, but many of us were sometimes not very attuned to our own needs, and we don't recognize what it is that we need. Is there anything that we do for ourselves? Pardon? Go on vacation, yes. Very. Yes, get the hair trimmed or shave it up, clip up the beard, cut up the fingernails, put on a nice, looking shirt. No, you're not pretty, you're handsome. Right, yes. Very good. Yes. Very good. Yes, that's a very, very important point. And physical exercise looks differently for different people. I think I would like to say that I'm a practical person. I don't tell everybody, oh, you need to go join the gym. You need to go run on the treadmill or lift some weights. No, you have to tailor things to people's individual needs, their resources, and their interests. So maybe I have a neighbor. Every morning he gets up, he has a wraparound veranda. Every day he gets up and he just walks back and forth the veranda, goes to the house, comes out, and he just walks back and forth every morning. And that is his exercise. Right? It can be, instead of when you come to church, instead of parking right by the door, you park all the way to the end of the yard. If you go somewhere and there's an elevator, maybe you take the stairs instead. These are the different things that we can do to tailor the recommendations for ourselves, right? I don't like going to the gym, so if I say, I'm going to join the gym, and that's just going to be my physical exercise, I'm going to fail within a week, right? I'm going to fail within a week, and I'm not even going to hide it. I don't enjoy doing that. I'd rather get up in the morning and walk up and down the hill that I live on, and I find that to be much, much more enjoyable. Right? So we have to tailor things for ourselves. And here are some little reminders that we must keep to ourselves. You must make time for yourself and to take breaks. Right? Again, especially, let's say we're very active in the church, we're active in our family. Sometimes you need a little bit of time for yourselves. Is that true? Sometimes you need to be alone with your thoughts and God. Right? And for anybody who is versed in the Bible, which I'm sure we are, didn't God retreat and pray? All right, right. So we must learn to take time for ourselves. We must take a little bit of break. If there are other persons in the house, and sometimes you just need a minute to yourself, go in the room, lay down, and say, boy, I just need a couple minutes. I'll come out and talk to you in a while. Just give me a little time for my brain to settle a little bit. If you always participate in something at church and it may be very enjoyable for you, but you just feel like you just need a 1 or 2 weeks break from something, say, boy, brother, can you ask brother so and so to take over this particular task for me next week. I just feel like I want a little bit of break. Just give me a minute and I'll come back to it next week or in 2 weeks' time. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good. I love that. I don't think anybody has told me that they practice fishing, but I love that. That is a very excellent. And again, that is why I say tailor these things to you. We are all different. We have different interests. Everyone doesn't have to find the same things enjoyable. Are you telling me that you enjoy the phone?
No, I'm trying to say the link.
Oh, I think he's trying to get your attention. Okay. Okay, great. So it is very important that we take time for ourselves. We must also remember that it's okay to have a bad day sometimes. There is this, and I know everybody might have had some conversation or they've heard some conversation like this before. It's okay to have a not so good day. There's this belief, especially in today's society, that every day must be a great day. And if you don't feel like it's a great day, then that means that the world is ending or it is so horrible or that there's something wrong with us. It is okay to say, boy, I'm really not having a good day today. And that is okay. I ask people, someone may pass me and they might say, you can't put a smile on your face. And my question to them or my response is that, am I supposed to walk around like this all day? Right? No. We can't walk around with a smile on our face every day. There's this idea that we must always be happy and we must always be cheerful. And sometimes you just don't feel happy or cheerful, and that is okay. Pardon? For one, it also depends on what makes the day not so bad. Is it something that you can do about it, or is it that you just don't feel particularly great that day? Whatever it is that you find to be enjoyable, you engage in those things. As I said when I started, there's no magic wand that we wave over our clients that is gonna make you perfect and everything is gonna be fantastic. If you're having a bad day, maybe you just need to take a little nap. Wake up and you go about your day. Maybe you need to sit a minute and have a word of prayer. Maybe you need to engage with some of your friends. Maybe you need to speak to a neighbor to say, boy, I'm just not feeling so great today. Is it a challenge that you need someone's assistance with? Sometimes when we are too close to things, we need somebody else to give us some ideas, some perspectives. So running that idea by someone else sometimes is enough to give us the type of support that we need. Can reading the Bible, coming to church make you feel better? Can going to visit the grandchildren or the children make you feel better? There's so many different things that we can do. There's no one that says, okay, and then it's all great. All right. But again, it is okay to not have a great day. We must. Yeah.
For me, when I have a bad day, I talk to somebody about it.
Yes.
Rather than keep it to myself. I say, I was talking today, and I need to talk about it. And sometimes by talking about somebody, you come up with a solution.
Yes.
As to you can prepare to leave the situation from coming back. You get that sort of closure. Yes. Especially if the person you have experienced the situation before. Yes.
Right.
For me, like I'm a
For teaching her, and she can give that open she appreciates that, and she got to be nice that, oh, sir, this lady, you don't any older, and, you know, for me, that made my day.
Ah, yes.
And I felt like I would want to continue.
Yes.
But you heard that there's a light that I'm touched.
Right. Very good.
Sometimes when you have a party, sometimes you meet somebody and sometimes you talk to them and it makes you feel better.
Very good. That is a lovely, very excellent story. Yes. Well, perhaps first of all, finding out why they're consuming the alcohol in the first place. Is it a problem or is it a little habit that they have? And what when persons come to me, for example, with issues of substances, it is not the most effective advice to say, don't bother drink the liquor. So is there anything that you can replace the alcohol with? So when you're feeling upset and you get the urge to drink something, is there anybody who you think you can reach out to and you're likely to get through to that person? And that person gives good, solid advice. That person is a source of support for you. But we also have to understand why is that person drinking. And if it is something a little bit more serious than a one drink occasionally, meaning if it's something that is a problem and a little bit more chronic, then we might need to refer them for some support. And you can do that at the hospital, or we also have the National Council on Drug Abuse for that type of support, which is a very excellent program under the government. Yeah. You have to find out why they're drinking. Replace it with something else. Right? Oh, okay. Right. One of the things that I heard touched on is speaking to somebody who believes that all of us need a friend. And when I say a friend, I mean an earthly friend. I know Jesus is our friend and wonderful and it's lovely to have him. But who believes that we need an earthly friend? Yes, right. It is so very important, especially as we get older and we're moving a little bit slow and we might be retired and our days might be a little bit slower than we're used to having them for much of our lives. It is so much more important. It is so important that we have somebody to speak to. If I have a minute to just share a little story with you, I have a colleague and we have an excellent relationship. And we traveled for a conference. And on one of the days, we said that we're going to have this day for ourselves. We're just going to explore. We're just going to see what is around. And we walked and we talked. And when we realized just how far we had gone, we could not walk back. We had to call a driver to take us back. We walked. I'm going to say that we walked maybe close to 2 hours. And the journey did not feel like a burden. It did not feel heavy. It did not feel like a big task because we were talking. We were enjoying ourselves. We were immersed in a good, healthy conversation. And if you use that and if you apply that to life, you don't recognize how far you've gone when you have good, solid people talking to us. It makes the journey so much easier. It makes every step a little bit lighter when you have somebody beside you who you share those good experiences with. So it is so very important that we maintain those relationships. And for those persons who are maybe a little bit older, that includes your neighbors, that includes your church brothers and your church sisters. And I know that many times we don't like to say when something is bothering us. We think that it is weak. We think that we don't want to burden anybody with our problems. But the same way that we would want for our neighbors and our friends to tell us when they're struggling, we must also tell them when we're in need of that type of support. We understand? Right. When everybody holds hands, it makes the chain a lot stronger. So we have to learn to support each other and to support ourselves in turn. Right. And again, I would like to emphasize just how important it is for us to take care of ourselves. Self-care, taking care of ourselves, it is not selfish, it is not being unkind, it is not mean, it is stewardship. Okay, the mic. Can the mic be?
Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I'm just saying that currently I'm in my 70s and looking critically at the whole friendship aspect. I remember very well some years ago, one of my former teachers, old enough to be my father, he's gone now to heaven, I suspect, I believe. Well, he said something to me, he called me by name, he said, Garth, I'm old enough to be your father, and I believe that at my age, I should have friends of all sorts in terms of age group. I must have friends who are older than I, who are my age group, and younger than I. Against the background that when you have friends who are just your age, if you live that long, you'll become extremely lonely when you become old. But at my age, if I have friends who are older than I, who are in my age group, and who are younger than I will always have friends. And I have applied that to my own life. Because I'm looking at, for example, persons in their 80s. Not very many are still around in terms of my friendship group. There are fewer in the 80s, more in the 70s, that's about my age group. And I do make and keep friends who are much younger than I. Because you see, we at our age group, we think a particular way. We have a particular type of friendship group that we keep, but not just that. There are some things that are common to us where social activities are concerned. We need the wisdom, we need the energy in all aspects of the young. And it's necessary then to keep friends. Now, since the passage of Melissa, and even before that burial, I have been able to maintain a lot of my sanity as a result of the support group. The support group of the older, support group of those in my age group, and the support of those who are much younger. So it is necessary, if we are just looking at one set of age group to keep friends with, it might be advisable to look at a broader spectrum. Thanks.
I agree with him wholeheartedly. Does anybody else agree? I agree with it. Very excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. I agree wholeheartedly. As we get old, as we retire and we age, we experience things a lot differently, correct? Many of our friends and colleagues will become ill, will die. If we were very esteemed in our jobs, the younger generation don't necessarily remember about us. So it is so very important that we maintain those close ties, that we maintain those relationships. There was a study that was conducted, I like to throw it fast. There was a study that was conducted many years ago, and this was done amongst of colleagues in a business place. And what they revealed was that it wasn't the amount of money that they make, it wasn't the working conditions, it wasn't the job itself that they had. What made them feel most fulfilled was the people that they had around them. The people who provided support, the people who provided that care and provided us with the opportunities to be ourselves. And that is what determined happiness. Because when I get older, the money doesn't really mean as much, correct? The job title that we had when we were younger, it doesn't really mean as much as we age. But it is the people around us, those who remain constant, those who say, how are you doing? Can I assist you? Let me come and talk to you. Let me come and sit on the veranda with you. I'm inviting you to church. Can you come over? Let us eat Sunday dinner. The people, pardon? Pray with them. The people who afford us these opportunities, that is what determines our true happiness. So I would like us to keep in mind that we must maintain those relationships, whether with friends, family members, church, brothers and sisters, they are essential. Yes.
People see you talking to a person like yourself. That's fine. Talking to your much older person, that's fine. But people begin to scrutinize your mentality when you're reaching down to the younger 20s, 10s. Wonder why in between what people speak. And that affects the mentality that you would like to say something to the young person, but you're not going to say it. So you want to do
I agree. We can be a little bit funny that way. And that's why it's so important that we have to have these types of conversations with people. There's something that we can learn from every generation. There's so many things that I can learn from those older than myself and those younger as well. We have to learn to change those conversations so that that narrative does not come up and prevent people from enjoying the relationships that are out there. Right? But I do agree with you that we can be a little bit funny that way. We have to work to change it. Right. So with everything that we've been speaking about, again, I would like to impress upon us how important it is for us to take care of ourselves. So, as I said before, self-care is not selfish, it is stewardship. The Lord has given us this one temple, and we have to learn to care and to take care of the temple. I would like to thank you so much for bearing with me for a talk today. Do we have any additional questions? I know everybody has been very participative, but do we have any additional questions or comments? All right, thank you so much for inviting me. And again, thank you so much for allowing me to speak with you today. Before I go, sorry about that. So we have these forms here if you're able to take a look at one. This is the World Health Organization's 5 Wellbeing Index. And this is a little questionnaire that the World Health Organization has put together for us to complete ourselves and that we can also administer to other people. It is very quick, just 5 questions. And it simply asks you how you have been feeling in the last 2 weeks. So not 3 weeks, not 1 week, not a month, last 2 weeks specifically. As I would have said before, there are so many persons who are still experiencing significant distress as a result of the hurricane. Many of us suffer in silence. Many of us don't necessarily want to speak about it. Maybe we feel like there's no help out there. So I'm going to ask if we can just to complete the questionnaires, and they will be collected at the end. You can put your name if you want to. If you don't, so that's fine. But I'm going to ask that you just write your phone number, your telephone number on it. So if the scores are a little bit out of range of what we'd like to see, then we have an opportunity to call you, to check on you, and to refer for any sort of support that you may need. Right? So you don't have to put your name if you don't want to. That is perfectly fine. But if you want to, that's also okay. So just the phone number is enough. Right. Thank you.
Put your hands together again, brothers, for
such a wonderful presentation. We now ask Brother who is in charge of the presentation to the guest speaker? All right, so we ask you to come forward and do the presentation now.
Good afternoon, still morning, afternoon. My fellow brothers in Christ, Miss Hastings, come forward for me, please. We appreciate you taking the time out to be with us this morning. I know you have a busy schedule. We appreciate you coming, and on behalf of the M.M.A Moravian Association of Jamaica and the Grand Caymans, we thank you and we want to appreciate you by giving us a small token. We want to have you here again, and again. All right? Everybody. Come on ahead. Come on ahead. Come on ahead. We're making sure that you don't go to the market. Yes, so you're not going to. I told you that that's food is for you. So you don't have to go to the market. You have to make that one. Don't worry. Go right there and place the camera. That one. Yes. Let them make it for you, man. Thank you,
Thank you so very much, everybody.
Yes, and Ms. Morris, I want to thank you so very much for being with us today, and God bless you as well.
Okay, brothers. So now we'll go and take the minutes of the last AGM. We didn't suspend. No, we did not suspend. Yes, sir. Okay, brothers, so we'll take the minutes of the last AGM. We sent the minutes to the executive body so that you can have a look at it from your phones. So at this time, we ask you to go through the minutes. Do you want us to read the minutes? Brothers? Do you want us to read the minutes of the last AGM? Or you can access it from your phones? Okay, it's been distributed. Okay. So we ask you to read the minutes now, and then we take corrections. We're asking you to take a quick minute to the age.
It's 5 minutes good enough to vote for the minutes. It's 5 minutes, brothers, good enough to vote for the minutes before we take amendments. I give it 5 minutes to vote, and then we take amendments. Starting now.
with the all right, brothers, corrections, amendments. Please go ahead, page 1. Yes. What a face to celebrate 50 years of marriage, 78th birthday. It was the 78th. You don't reach here yet. 75th. Yeah. All right. Any other corrections? That should be injected in the minutes. That's what you're saying. Did we have an election at okay. Any other corrections, brothers? If there's none, we go to page 2. Page 2. We're taking corrections to page 2. Speak now or hold your peace. Under what heading? Yes. Yes, go ahead with the correction. Not remembers, remembered. Yes. Should be in the past tense. Yes, and we need the full name for Brother Clive as well. And he's right here, so if you can make that spelling, he's right here. Calendar of events, what page is that? Oh, okay, yes, yes. Cricket. Cricket. Yes. Reading of the minutes. Motion by Brother Clive, seconded by yes. So that adjustment needs to be made. Any other correction? Yes. Yeah, this is not clear. what the Constitution Committee is going to draft political about. So we need to say that. And then we need to talk about the Moravian Church. If the Moravian Church 50%, I don't know if it's minimal. I think it's 50% that you walk up in, I'm not sure.
Yes, but I said not here.
Yeah, it's not clear, so we need to make that clear. And the rest of 50% would be coming from the concert. I mean to say what concert it is that we're going to be having.
I think we are environmental, work fellowships, the fellowships that are not active in Eastern District. Enrollment of no one still another council and further. We have enrollment for new works. We have fellowships that are not active in Eastern District. I think the fellowships.
It's not on the Constitution, you know. All of this is on the Montana Rising on the minutes.
Yes, but I'm referring to that section.
Yes.
It said fellowships. I think it should be fellowships.
Fellowships. Yeah. I think sometimes we need to elaborate a little bit more on this so that it's quite clear. Alright, what are we going to do about fellowships that are not active in Eastern District? Find out, reactivate, what is it that we're going to do? So we need to make that clear. The President decided for enrollment for new works. Yes. What is that? That needs to be more clear.
Yes.
About new enrollment. Elaborate a little bit more on that one. A revision of the calendar to start April. No, we said that we will start our calendar year what time? I think also April, right after Fellowship Day. So all of those need to be clear.
And still on that page,
Yes.
that last line there. That's an annual Friday. This annual family fun day.
Annual family fun day.
Yeah, annual Friday.
That might be a typo error. Any other correction on page 2? If there's none, we go to page 3.
Yes, second line said the Eastern District passes.
Under what the brother?
District report.
District reports, yes.
Eastern District.
Yes.
Second said the Eastern District passes in the there's a break there.
Eastern District participation came from churches in Eastern District.
When it's participated in the, I don't know what you're about.
Line 2.
The second line there.
Fellowship Day,
No. Fellowship Day.
comma, the Eastern District participated in the blah, 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 blah. I don't know what that is. We're not sure what that is.
The other fundraising event which took place at which took place at
What year, what date?
No, I don't think what is it.
Yeah, but we need to put in the date.
And second to last line of that paragraph, the Donnat Church celebrated their 190th anniversary. Plans are being to have a concert if they announce it for Bethany or district.
Right, we need to have that sorted. Yeah, that needs to be sorted out. Any other correction?
Yes, in active fellowship, that's it. Bohemian, that's right. The Bohemian Moravian Church, Coteria said that.
Whoa!
Yes.
You know we have a church in Brother Jacob.
It didn't say that.
It didn't say that, but that's what it is. What is far from the.
And so it's going,
So this is true.
Yeah, and then we have some things that are, we need to change the font size, Brother Gerard, of these. You have them being boarded. You don't need to board them, all right? But change the font size and put them in a normal 12 font, and don't put it in the board.
Still on that page.
Yes.
District, that's Western District. Working driver, Lewis have copied to the driver, Jacobs, I noticed no highlights. Quoted from the report. And for central, traffic to be something and I see there, over inactive.
Yes, we need more. Treasurer's report.
But further down, it says our members must sign the document.
Bring treasurer's report in front of the colon. And the sentence, we're with them. But reality is short.
March 24 to February 2025.
Yes, that's it.
It should be just March 2024 to February 2025. That's the end of the life of the It's correct. But you could also 2024 to 2025.
No, you were right, very.
No.
No, you don't know.
You don't have to put in a month, you know, brother. We know when it's.
No. March to February, so that it has the year.
The year starts on the 1st of March.
Yes.
That is correct.
But by the way, then we did move that. We come to that afterwards. Right. What a client move on. Any other correction?
Yes, yes, the member must sign the document. Right? I don't know which document was that.
What document, right?
I don't know which document is the date to sign. I don't know which document.
Apply to Unitas for boys in.
That's the top Unitas, that's why I see here. Unitas are to the association for the for boys in the circuit that don't affect the understand.
Yes.
Is it the Cape Town structure that you're referring to?
Not sure what you're referring to here.
I think,
Yeah,
I think what you're referring to is that when you have the boys went back and say that we want to apply, that went out by the gate, but we want to designate it as
It's not Unitas. We say we were going to apply permission from Synod. Yes. So he was No, but we did, but Clive is part of the secretariat and he is the editor. All that we use from the secretariat is to go to Brother Clive. It's Brother Clive. So when we come back here, at any other meeting and I take up the minutes and I don't see at the bottom of the minutes or at the end of the minutes edited by Brother Clive after doing that, I'm certainly not going to be using it. It must be edited. All right, so that we don't spend so much time going through these corrections. And the account that the ministry is very important. As we can see, when the backyard business is hard classrooms. And we don't want anybody to take away anything, and next thing you know, it's something in the newspaper. You have to be careful. And we sending these things over social media, WhatsApp. We have to be very careful. All right? So that if it's not edited by Brother Clive, please don't bring it to the meeting. Have it been done before. All right? This morning, I made sure my wife fell asleep last night, and I waited until she wake up this morning. And while she was in the kitchen, I brought the computer to her, and I asked her to have a look at my report to the AGM and see if there are any grammatical errors. And then I make sure that I pay to use Google Docs. I pay Google Docs. So when I write, I open up Google Docs, and I'm going to encourage the, I'm going to ask the M.M.A. to pay for a subscription of Google Docs and let Brother Gerard have that. It's not expensive, right? It's about, you can pay for the year. Once you pay for the year, once AI is involved in whatever document you have, your chances of making any errors are very, very slim. AI don't miss anything, right? I am writing a book right now, almost finished, and right from the very start, I know that when I send it to the editor, he's not going to spend any time with it, right? I use AI, and once you use AI, don't be afraid to use it. Use it. All right?
What's the cost on the year?
I think I'm saying $19 or $20 US per month. All right? You see what for money? 20 days for money. But you can't save with some embarrassment though. All right. Yeah, and they have a subscription too. I think they have 89 cents and some others, so you can pick one different package. As long as the meeting are good. But we can talk about that later. All right. But brothers, please get the thing edited. All right. Can we now have the confirmation of the minutes? All right. Somebody second it. All right. So let us go to our brothers. I don't tend to be here after 4 o'clock. Yes, sir. We want to finish on time. We might have our working lunch too. All right. Let's take matters arising from the minutes. I'm going to throw past calendar of events and go down to the child scholarship. All right, so we are approved for first year college, where it was clear, as it was before, that if you were a first year in college, you would not get the scholarship, you would not apply for the scholarship. We have jumped past that now. We have now amended the rule to say that if you're first year in college, you can apply for the Clifton scholarship. But you will have to get your letter of enrollment to confirm that you are enrolled and will be attending university. And we will have to get a report from the college before you get the second tranche of funds. Right? So that is now done.
President, if you permit me, sir, I'll just make a few comments regarding the job scholarship.
Yes, sir.
The uptake we have discovered recently has been on the lower side because I don't know what could have contributed to that. It's being not promoted as it should be within the districts or within the congregations. Because there are a lot of persons who could have applied and they should have applied and would have applied if they were encouraged by that time it was late. The applications open on the 1st of June every year, and it goes right through the entire month of June, closes on the last of June. And if the uptake should be increased, I really would be happy. It means that we brothers from right across the 4 districts ought to pay more attention to that. There are fellows within our young men within our own congregations who might do so well with it. Although it is not as much as it could be, but a little is better than nothing. So I'm encouraging us, Brother President, to have a greater uptake of this through the medium of greater advertisements at the congregational level and the district level. And when the applications are at the 1st of June, that will pay more attention to encouraging more of our youngsters to apply.
Yes, and what we can do, and I'm going to encourage Brother Louis, chair of that committee, we are going to encourage you to make a flyer and circulate something using social media. WhatsApp would be one of the medium by which you can do so. Most of the churches have their WhatsApp groups, so you can circulate same. We have the personnel within the secretary who is able to for you. I say that the church is lacking in is that we are not catering for youngsters and putting them in a position where they can return and contribute to the church financially. Elsewhere, some of the other denominations, they are promoting education in whatever means and using the wealth so once that percentage of your church members are gainfully employed in some of these jobs, then they can return to contribute to your church development and financial status. So we need to pay attention to that, brothers. If we can get some other brothers, and that's how we have attracted young men to our fellowship as well.
Yes.
All right? So we can pay attention to that. So they must agree with the M.M.A to make check on grades. Okay? I don't know if there was some agreement that was signed in regards to that. Yes, Brother Price.
Yes. Okay, can you frame that
You mean when? Prior to or after this?
after the person have received a benefit from the
I so what we should be doing is to have some data. We have to let the person sign to the document, make it a legal document. Person sign to the document if the person does not fulfill the requirement. This is what the brothers and sisters are agreement. I don't know if somebody can come motion. Reach what he assigned to, then we can ask the person to return the funds that was given. Right?
What are the requirements? What are the requirements?
For the scholarship, I don't have all the documents, but I will be
There is a particular document that states under certain headings. And the person is asked what he will be doing after graduation.
Yes. Yeah, but what we say now, we want to have a document that is signed.
I agree with that.
Yes.
Yes,
that's a good question, Brother Preston. So we want to, Brother Irwin, so we are saying that we want to have a document that the awardee of the teacher's scholarship should sign to, so that if they don't fulfill the end of the bargain, at the end of the come together, at the end of the scholarship, then we ask them to either return. What should we do, brothers? Ask them to return the funds, or yes, yes, sir.
It is upon receipt of their semester result that they are allowed to get a second round.
Yes, but what we're saying is not, we are not saying about those things. We are saying after everything has ended, then the person don't come back and do anything. After graduation.
Our expectation.
We need to put all of those under the person's sign to. So I asked Brother Louis to have a meeting of the committee, scholarship committee, and then we come up together with the all requirements that we want the person to do fulfill at the end of the scholarship. And then we have them signed to. Okay, brothers? Yes. No.
But I'm the scholarship, they are asked to maintain a certain grade. Yes. And if you fall below that grade,
yes,
you would have a part in your chances.
Right, yes, if the grades are not good, the second, that automatically, that's why we check up, that's why they have to give us a report. Students must agree with M.M.A to make a check on grades, right? Yes. Checks on, I think we should have there, checks on their grades. Yes, sir.
So, I'm trying to understand, you're saying that you have any scholarship, right?
After you completed your course of study, you expected to return and make a contribution to them. Yes, but the committee is going to meet and state what those requirements are, what we require to do afterwards. So what we're finding out, that's what I don't continue. What we're finding out is persons coming, getting the scholarship, and then they move on, and we don't hear a thing from them.
Okay, so what if the person is encountered with some form of hardship?
Pardon?
What if the person has encountered some
Form of hardship, then the person presents the evidence that we investigated, and we find out that that is so, then we can now make an agreement as to move forward. All right? Yes, sir.
Before the day, yes, we indicated that based on the grades or whatever, it's like we transfer like I remember.
Yes.
But there is no mechanism that we have to follow and
Exactly.
the person. So I am not going to say that the person.
There is a mechanism, brother. We require.
I'm saying, sir. At this time.
All right. So there is.
Nobody is aside.
No, but there is a committee. The committee should be served. That's chaired by Brother Louis. So you should have a meeting. And once somebody is received, once you have a recipient, the committee should do its job by monitoring the person that is there. We can, you are there, you are on the committee of for the scholarship committee, then you expect to review the work. That's a part of the mandate. Unless you want us to know, make it mandatory that the scholarship committee give a report to the AGM. Okay. But else somebody have to move a motion for that now.
But I feel
No, what to? I know that's Brother Clyde. You saw what you said? You say I so move. Yes, somebody second it? Right, so the scholarship committee, the chair, or somebody appointed by the chair, will make a report to the AGM on the scholarship. Is that clear? All right. Yes. And then the other part of it is we will have to have a meeting coming up for the next round of application. We will draft a document that the applicant, successful applicant will sign to. All right, and then we monitor. Okay? Yes. All right. President's report.
Just one word, sir. In the document that we draft, we need to ask an attorney to look at it to make sure that it is susceptible to, it's not susceptible to challenge. It can be supported in a court of law if necessary.
Yeah, and that is going to cause us some legal fees.
But
yes.
not, it shouldn't cost much.
That should cost much. And I'm sure we have a few attorneys in our church. One person that comes to mind is, what's the brother from Port Class against? Dominic. Dominic Clear, right.
But don't ask the young man to custody.
Eh?
Make a donation and let him tell us when you want it.
No, we will talk. We can call him and talk to him.
Okay.
Our brother Louis will have to take contact with same and then determine, ask him if he could look at the document. And we don't just want him to just look at it because we have some lawyers who look at the document and that's okay. But we want him to sit down and look at it and make sure that it's both with and thorough and make sure that it is a legal binding contract. And if it's possible, we get him to put his stamp or what signature on it. Alright, and then we get the person to sign it. Alright. President's report, prayer breakfast, scholarship, bursaries. Alright, let's see if prayer breakfast is coming up again. No? So we take the prayer breakfast.
What's there?
That last year's prayer breakfast was the prayer part of it was good, but the breakfast was not good. It did not meet up to the standard. Or well, some people say disaster. Our usual caterer was off the island, and so we had a challenge. We voted and decided that our brother would have been given the go ahead to prepare breakfast, but we were disappointed that the catering was not up to the required standard. We ran out of food before the breakfast to share, which was so disappointing. And so many persons walked away. We lost some income as well because persons who bought tickets. Some persons said that they would not have paid for it because they didn't get any breakfast. And so it was a time. But all mentors, all the current mentors will be in place this time around. If it means that I have to put on back my food and beverage managers act and take charge of the breakfast, its preparation, and so on, I will be in the kitchen. So this time I might not even be around inside here. I am going to make sure that somebody else come and play the music, and I am going to be in the kitchen because the food must come. I'm going to remember Mr. Messina. The food must come properly. If that is not out there properly, breakfast will be prayer breakfast is going to be of little and no stores. All right? Yes, yes, brother.
For much of the time, this function has been supported by women.
Yes.
And I can tell you, we have to do a lot of work and this marketing. But
this coming here, yes. Yes, because
the problem is that we have more, for me, I think we have more ladies coming out more than men.
yes.
And I can tell you,
We are going to take care of everything.
near to my community.
Yes.
And it's like a hard feeling. But I don't mention this activity, no. They say, no, they're not coming. So I tell you that to market it.
The AGM will decide where the prayer breakfast will go.
So it's not hard feeling is the problem.
Not Hartfield is a problem. Hartfield has never been a problem. It's a nice, spacious auditorium. And it's one of the better facilities that we have. Right? So I don't think the venue is a problem. If the break is here, they bring it inside. Yes. We can, brothers, what we're going to do, because we don't want to stop. Right? If we stop, we are going to be, we don't want to take a break. So the break will be brought inside. You can take your time. I don't, so many purposes will not go around, but you can take your time and go and have your break and come back. Just take it and come back to your seat and we continue working from here. Alright, brothers? So we stand right. Alright, so can we now take a decision? Is the venue okay? I don't think we have a problem with the venue. I don't believe we have a problem with the venue. Venue has never been a problem. So do we retain the same venue? Right. We take the same venue. Sister, for the catering, Sister Judy's back. So brothers, do we go with the same flow like last year, where we do not make any provisions for, we don't carry any, not at all. She just prepare the breakfast, sell it to us, tell us the price, we put on our markups, and we make a profit from it. Do we go with that? Yes. Yes, Brother Clark.
I have a difficulty with that issue.
Yes.
If she offers the breakfast to us at $2,000.
Yes.
If we only add $1,000, we're not that's not saying anything. And I tell you what the problem is, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
When somebody buys a ticket for $3,000,
yes,
for him to buy $6,000 worth of gas to travel from Montego Bay,
yes,
that's not comfortable. He's going to just give you the $3,000 and he's not going to come.
We don't mind.
You want
we have a vice president, but we still getting the monetary support.
If on the other hand,
yes,
he buys a ticket for $7,000,
yes,
and he buys 2 tickets for himself and his girlfriend, maybe sweetheart or whatever.
yes,
he's going to be willing to invest the $6,000 in the gas to come with the wife with the $14,000. So if you are only planning to make $1,000, we can stop.
brothers. I get what you're saying, because we Jamaicans, if it's not expensive, we don't want it, right? So I have a cheap phone, and let me take it over the students look at it and say, what kind of phone is that, sir? I want iPhone, you want them. So much more iPhone, 120, that goes around and that is not the phone. I don't want that phone. So, brothers, what do we say? Let's take, for example, what I heard about that from you. Don't forget the point. Brothers, if Sister Julie says the meal is for $2,000, what do we do? Put on $5,000 on it? $5,000? That's too much. So we could put down a 50% markup for, right? 50% or 100%. What do we mark up by?
Because last year was rough.
Yes.
And it might turn off a lot of people.
Yes. So try and keep it where it is. What was the price? What was the price? $2,000? my dear brothers, if we are paying attention to what is happening in the Middle East, things are going to be significantly going up in short order because the price of oil is going to skyrocket. Gas prices and will skyrocket. And if it skyrockets, brothers, we are going to have to pay some more money. Right? So let's pay attention to what is happening there. Depends on what cost Peter is going to put forward to us. Then at this time, then we can put on the market. But I would suggest not more than 50% on what is there. Do we agree, brothers? What? If what? $4,000? 50%? If the fee is $2,000, that's $3,000. No, not 100%. Alright? So we put on a 50% markup. Not 100%. 50. You don't have enough.
It's harder to sell a cheap ticket than an expensive ticket. Much harder. The people who will buy an expensive ticket have their own transportation. The people who will buy a cheap ticket don't have transportation.
All right, sir. All right, brothers. What do we do? 100% markup, 100% markup, 50% markup. Where do we go, brothers? 50%. All right. You have to keep it at 50. Get there for the audience. 1%. Yes, sir. Brother God, please.
Yes, the point I was making was why don't we revisit the board matter?
Brothers, hold on here. Brothers, please. Brothers, hold on, brother God. Brothers, please, if you're talking, kind of whisper because it's so coming back. All right? Based on the building and the roof, the sound is going to bounce back at us. You're talking inside. All right? So kind of whisper. Yes, brother God.
Why don't we revisit the whole matter of making submission of ground provision of time to lessen the cost to the caterer?
It does never lessen the cost.
Who in turn will lessen the charge to us?
No, it does never lessen the cost.
It does what?
It does never lessen the cost.
What I am thinking.
It does never lessen the cost, brother God. Seriously. Last year, when we implemented the no contribution and just put a markup, we were in a position, had it not been for the hiccup, we would have made a good profit. Had it not been for the hiccup. Alright? So we will take some things into account. And then from there, we will determine the price. Alright, because we're going to look at the price for the already tables and chairs. We're going to have other markup as well. Alright? Yes. Alright, when we come to discussion for prayer breakfast, then we will determine whether we do that. Alright?
Well, I mean, you know, respond to what I said. What Brother Smith is saying about church member provide like meditation.
Yes.
So why not abandon the catering and we organize people camp and we provide the extra things? Since these are fundraising activities.
We had some problems with that, and I didn't want to go on there. Taking from the fund day at Nazareth, there was some problem there with the catering. I had to be around the kitchen police what was happening. I found that there were persons who were going in with their plates and collecting food from the kitchen. I had to be around there and tell them to send it inside the one and purchase it and so on. There was a problem there, and we don't want that problem coming to us again. Right? Yes.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'm from Cayman, Oregon.
Yes, sir.
We were told once that food is not profitable, you don't make any money out of it. And I think that to be wrong.
Yes.
The way you approach it makes a significant difference. And I believe, let me share the experience with you.
Yes, sir.
If you will permit me.
Go ahead, sir. I'll give you 2 minutes.
I won't need so much.
All right.
What we did was that we asked for contribution and volunteers. Somebody donated a bag of feed. Somebody donated 10 chickens. And we ended up with 50 chickens. We raised them, so we had enough chicken. We didn't have to buy chicken meat. All of it was contributed because this person gave a half bag of feed or a bag of feed. We got the rice and we got the peas. And we cook and sell. And we made over $200,000 from first one small donation. So I can't understand how is it that you're having such a great issue with this breakfast. It's just a breakfast. How is it why the beans was like this?
We never have an issue, you know. The problem was last year. No, the problem was last year. We ran into problem last year when the caterer did a poor job. Because we don't have money to the caterers.
Don't you caterers are the persons that are trying to keep them out there cooking a meal or preparing a meal within our church. And we have the right arrangement as the right person. Even the fact that we mentioned how I have a person who are cheering and they do all the fixing. That's all. So you have the right person to be a second.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, brother Jacob. Yes, brother Jacob.
Brother, you guys said that last year was the first time we ever had a problem. And the reason is that when we had the boys first, this brother problem, we don't do that catering and give them a train. So the regular caterer went away and decided that we would try it because it's one of us. So, but not normally, it doesn't do well, and this time around,
yeah, we never have a problem until
we
last
never
year.
had a problem before. Because it's unfortunate.
Yeah, but why we took the decision, I think it is far way easier on us. You don't know what we have to go to collect food, to go out. It's a lot of work. You go up and down, it's not easy. Yeah. If it was say Fairfield Circuit was doing something like that, then all of the persons would be in one place. But you imagine contribution coming from all over the island. Sometimes it's me alone have to be judged upon those who have to ask them as far as new markets to pick up things. Another time I have to go down by Vernon Villa, we have this circuit, up and down. Yes.
What we could do is regionalize whatever. You know that Manchester have like Irish potato.
But that's what we have been doing. That's what we have been doing.
But that should be able to collect easy.
Yeah, but we have to. Are you saying, the one final thing, I don't want to prolong on this one. Are you saying, brothers, that you want us to go back to taking contributions?
No, I don't think that I think with respect to that,
yes.
I think having a caterer that not everybody here that way that if you are in business, then sometimes the business is not there at a time. You have to fight to get it on the ground or to prevent yourself from sinking.
Correct.
I don't have a problem with that. My problem is how much money you can pay when you have a caterer. The caterer is going away with 75%.
That has never been the case, you know. That has never been the case for us. That has never been the case. Alright? I think even when we were collecting the food and giving the person cater for us, the charge was like per 100. I remember Brother Casey maybe can tell us. Like if every 100 food she cooks, you give her I don't remember. Yes. All right, let me give you an instance. At my mother's funeral service, she gave that for me. And she didn't even ask, I gave her $50,000. And she prepared over, I bought everything though. And she prepared over 200 beans. And 200 beans. 150, right. And I gave her $250,000. Alright, so that's not a problem. The problem was last year. Alright? So we will meet as early as we put on online. Normally we have to meet this month here. Last Saturday. It says the 15th. So we'll meet on the 15th, Saturday 15th. It's the 15th, it's a Sunday?
So it has to be the 16th.
It has to be the 16th or the 14th. It has to be the 14th for the online meeting. So we'll have an online meeting.